Hi. What if I told you that the two biggest names in artificial intelligence just stopped waiting for companies to figure out AI on their own and instead decided to show up at the front door with a team of engineers, $1 billion budget, and a plan to redesign how your company works from the inside out? That's not just some dream of the distant future. That happened this month. And the implications of this are the millions of workers, jobs that could be affected. So let's talk about it. So this is the news. Anthropic announced its joint venture with Blackstone, Goldman Sachs, and Hellman and Friedman on May 4th, 2026. And OpenAI followed about a week later, launching the OpenAI deployment company on May 11th, 2026. This makes both OpenAI and Anthropic, both the companies behind ChatGPT and the company behind Claude, launch brand new service companies designed to physically embed AI engineers inside businesses to overhaul their operations. OpenAI went first with what they're calling the OpenAI Deployment Company. This isn't some small side project, by the way. It launched with over $4 billion in investment at a $10 billion valuation backed by TPG, Advent, Bain Capital, and Brooksfield. They even acquired a company called Tomorrow, which is an AI consulting firm that brings roughly 150 forward deployed engineers on board from day one. The idea is straightforward. OpenAI will send a team into your company, study your workflows, and rebuild them around AI. Not to be undone, Anthropic announced its own joint venture with Blackstone, Goldman Sachs, and Hellman and Friedman, which is backed by about $1.5 billion. Again, it's the same model with embedded engineers inside companies who will redesign processes and integrate AI into core operations. Both companies have also deepened partnerships with big consultancy firms. Anthropic with PwC, Accenture, Deloitte, and Infosys. OpenAI has done so also through its broader enterprise network. Here's what makes this different from anything we've seen before. These aren't companies selling you software and saying, hey, good luck. They are sending people into your office to replace the way work gets done. That is a fundamentally different level of disruption. Section 2, the job impact. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. What does this mean for jobs? The numbers paint a very dismal picture. According to recent data, 37% of business leaders say they plan to replace human workers with AI by the end of 2026. The IMF reports that 40% of jobs worldwide are exposed to AI, and in advanced economies like the US and Europe, the numbers jump to 60%. Don't think that you are sitting in some part of Asia and this won't affect you. It's just a matter of time. But here's what's really alarming. A Harvard Business Review study from earlier this year found that 60% of organizations have already cut headcount in anticipation of what AI might do. So notice here, not based on what it's actually proven it can do. Companies are actually firing people based on AI's potential, not its performance. The roles most at risk right now are those that involve repetitive digital text-based work, such as data entry clerks, administrative assistants, customer services reps, financial analysts, lower-level HR staff, and paralegals. About 6 million clerical workers in the US alone are at high risk. Anthropic's own research found that AI can theoretically handle 90% of all office and administrative tasks. That's not all. Let's talk about middle management. A Gartner projection suggests that by the end of this year, 2026, 20% of organizations will use AI to flatten their hierarchies. What does this mean? Potentially eliminating over half of middle management positions at those companies. Pierre Modier, Anthropic CEO, has warned that AI can eliminate 50% of entry-level white-collar jobs within 5 years and push US unemployment to levels we haven't seen since the Great Depression. Now, and this is important, none of the above I mentioned means all of this will happen. I know for a fact that AI companies use these tactics to create hype so investors will throw more money at them. But the fact that the people building these systems are saying this out loud, it should tell you something about the pace of change. If it doesn't happen now, it will eventually happen. Section 3, the solutions. So what do we actually do about this? Because gloom and doom without solutions is just noise. Let's talk about what's real and what's possible. First, reskilling and upskilling programs. The federal government in the US has already provided roughly $1 billion per year through the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act for dislocated workers training. States like California, Michigan, Colorado, and New York have launched their own supplemental funds targeting workers in automation-exposed roles. California's Employment Training Panel, Michigan's Going Pro Talent Fund, and Colorado's Skill Advanced Programs are all examples of state-level actions that's happening right now. You see, that's the US. What about the rest of the world? Are your governments even thinking down these lines? Second, new jobs are being created. This isn't just a story of destruction. LinkedIn data shows that AI has already added 1.3 million new jobs globally. What sort of roles are we looking at? Roles like AI engineers, data annotators, machine learning specialists, AI ethics officers, and prompt engineers. The World Economic Forum projects that by 2030, 170 million new roles will be created, while 92 million will be displaced, which, if we believe the World Economic Forum, amounts to a net gain of 78 million new positions. The demand for human AI trainers and evaluators alone is growing by 25 to 35% annually. But the question is, are you gearing yourself up for these positions? Third, direct financial support. There are pilot programs already running that provide direct cash assistance to AI-displaced workers. A partnership between What We Will and the Fund for Guaranteed Income is sending $1,000 a month to displaced workers. The Rockefeller Foundation's Good Jobs for America initiative is also funneling displaced clerical workers into higher value positions through short, targeted training programs. Once again, that's the US. What about the rest of the world? Are your governments even thinking down these lines? Fourth, and this is the one I think matters the most, human-AI collaboration. You see, the future isn't humans versus AI, it's humans with AI. The companies that will thrive are the ones that figure out how to pair human creativity, judgment, and emotional intelligence with AI's speed and pattern recognition. New roles like AI UX designers, AI agent architects, and AI governance officers didn't exist 2 years back. They exist now because someone has to sit between the technology and the humans it serves. Judgment now is more important than ever. I've been mentioning this in my podcast, videos, and articles, that we were first knowers. Those days are gone. We now need to be learners and judges. Fifth, policy reforms. Experts are calling for AI workforce centers of excellence, regional hubs anchored by community colleges that help workers transition into AI-adjacent careers. The US currently spends only 0.1% of GDP on active labor market policies. Not sure about the rest of the world again, but whatever way we look at this, things have to change if we're serious about not leaving people behind. In fact, as I keep saying, it is extremely important that every government in the world focus on this and not take AI lightly. There will be displacement and a lot of disruptions in everyone's careers, and trust me, no one is ready for it. So here's the bottom line. OpenAI and Anthropic are not just building AI anymore. They're building companies that will install AI into every department of every business that can afford it. That is a seismic shift. The question isn't whether it's coming, it's already here. The question is whether we're going to be proactive, learn, adapt, and push for better policies. Or are we going to pretend that none of this is happening until it's too late? I'd love to hear what you think. Drop a comment below. And if this was useful, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, the future belongs to those who are ready. Go be unstoppable. Thank you.